We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. I do not know if you guys consider 5 o'clock in the evening being tonight, but it's the routine on how we start the show, and I have no other idea on how to start it other than saying that. But we will be picking it up Saturday morning show, so we're excited to announce with our good partners over at Believe Podcast, we will be doing an SEC morning show, an SEC College Game Day, if you will, sponsored by our good friends over Believe and BetOnline.ag. So looking forward to that, guys. 2 more weeks, actually 13 more days until the cleats are laced up and the pads are hitting in college football. So we're looking forward to that, and we will follow SEC teams, and obviously we're going to be covering LSU, as that is what we do here at AYS. So huge show in store for you tonight. What is the truth? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. What's the truth behind this quarterback situation? I will be honest. After leaving the scrimmage on Thursday, I did not think that we would have this battle after what we saw. Nevertheless, we do. So what is the truth behind the quarterback battle? As we might have a little bit of a source off here tonight on the show, but it was clarified by our good friend Jacques Doucet over at WAFB on who he believes the starter will be. We'll jump into that tonight. LSU did practice yesterday. What the staff is saying and what the feeling around the program is. The program, or the team rather, did go to Topgolf, I heard last night or night before last, whatever it was, and had a good time. But I do want to get this off of my chest while we do have the time here tonight to talk about it. Obviously, Wednesday is going to be a big day with Garrett Nussmeier more than likely returning. What does he do when he gets first-team reps, as it is a 2-man race? But I do feel and am starting to feel a little bit more that there is one quarterback that is separating from the pack after listening to some people around the program. But again, Garrett Nussmeier can have a huge game or practice scrimmage this upcoming Wednesday, which we will be there as well. I thought Brian Kelly couldn't recruit. Pooh Bear told me on this show a month ago, he goes, Blake, I don't know why you keep saying he can recruit. He can't recruit. And then Zach came in and, Tim Tebow, best quarterback alive. Tim Tebow. And then all of a sudden, Brian Kelly called me up and was like, tell your producer Pooh Bear he's wrong. I was like, all right, coach. I don't know, where Pooh Bear got all of that. But Zach was like, did you see Eli Manning and Eli's places with Tim Tebow? He's the best quarterback of all time. I do my hair just like him. I guess this is Zach. Remember, guys, put the you got to put the ZL if it's you, Zach. But he says Tim Tebow is a good quarterback. So I don't think he's a good quarterback in college. I think he was a great quarterback in college. That's crazy that him and Cam Newton were on that same team. That's insane. If you really think about it, that's insane. So we'll get into a lot of that. Kylin Jackson did commit to the Tigers this weekend. We will give you a recruiting update. We will have a massive write-up this upcoming Monday around. I'll release it at 8 o'clock on some recruiting tidbits. Jordan Matthews, Kai Preen, Xavier McLeod will be announcing their commitments, where I think all those young men are going. Where does LSU sit with them? So we'll touch on what's next in recruiting as well. And we will do a hashtag Ask Blake. So if you have any questions, have any thoughts, have any concerns, put them inside the Rudy Crew chat right now, hashtag Ask Blake, and we will get to as many of them as we can. I do have to say this, though, before we get to started. We'll get to these comments as the show is on. My wife loves to give me surprises, and she loves buying me things. I don't like things being bought for me. But yesterday I went to the this morning I went to the mailbox, and I know this mail doesn't run, there was this package in my paws. A very good thing to talk about packaging, what I'm about to say next. But I had a T-shirt with my name on it in the mailbox, and it says pause. So if you can't see it, I know some of you listen to the audio podcast platform can't see it, or if you're on XM radio, but it says pause. If you watch this show, you know what it means. If you watch or have ever listened to Pooh Bear, you know what it means. So supporting our friends over the Golden Boot Pod, they'll have a show tonight. I was watching this morning. Zach and them had Tavion Galloway on the show. I was had to miss that one because I had like daddy duties. You heard me. Diapers ain't gonna change themselves. So go support them. Tigers Avenue Podcast and the Golden Boot Pod. So let's do this. Everybody, do us a favor by hitting the like and share. I see that there's so many of you watching us live on Facebook right now. Currently, stop, collaborate, and listen. Hit the like, hit the share to all those social media groups. We greatly, greatly appreciate you doing that. If you're listening to us on YouTube or XM Radio, subscribe, listen, notification bell. We greatly appreciate it. And everyone, don't forget to subscribe to our AYS message board. That's ayssnetwork.com/forum. $7 every month. We're going to be doing some giveaways here shortly. We got these stickers for new subscribers. So if you subscribe, so the next 10 subscribers will be getting one of these. So it's just like a little computer sticker. So go subscribe, and I'll be sending you, and you got to send me your address, obviously. We will be sending you those stickers in the mail. So, all right, guys, let's get this thing started. Where and what is the truth behind this LSU quarterback battle? We touch on that first, but let's pay these bills with our good friends over at betonline.ag and our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. Zach, hit that button. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down on the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. I want to say this very quickly. You guys know that I do not get political on this show whatsoever. But I just watched this video of this young man. I think they said somewhere in Chicago or something like that, that's being bullied. And I'm not going to go into what happened. I shared it on my timeline on Twitter. Let me just say this. If you're going to bully somebody because they're black, gay, whatever religion they are, whatever it may be, I don't know all the stereotypes out there, but whatever they are, if you're a bully, now I know that me and Zach joke around, but like I've said on this show many times, there's nobody in our platform outside of myself that has more info and trust with what we do here daily than anyone. Obviously, Pooh Bear as well. But let me just say this. If you're a bully and you're a piece of shit, DM us. Let our group. So you'll just have to go to my Twitter page. I keep seeing this bullying thing going on Twitter. DM us. We'll come. We'll fight. Stop that shit. There's no place on this earth, no place on this earth for bullying. Guys, I got to be honest, it pisses me off. Like, I get legitimately pissed off. Anyway, let's get into some LSU football. Precious says, AYS applying pressure. We're trying to. Pooh Bear says, Miles to Keaton, that Miles didn't get none to some first-team reps. We will touch on that. Marcus says, this live chat fixing to be lit. I have a feeling it's about to be very lit from what I'm about to say. Edward O says, got a feeling Nuss will set it off this next scrimmage because he missed the last one. Very good possibility. Very good possibility. I'm okay with that. But we'll see. Steve Ryan says, I'm glad in 13 days we can stop talking about recruiting and talk about the games. Players playing and coaches coaching. Let's go. I do agree with him there. It has been a very long offseason, right? Like a very, very, very long offseason when it comes to that kind of stuff. Jacob Hibbert says, if Nuss is Nuss healthy, and if so, how is he looking? I was told they brought him back somewhat slowly Saturday, but he will be a go Wednesday from what I've been told. Now, we'll see how they progress. We'll see if that injury is as bad or is as good or as okay as they say it is. We'll see. When you start having a high ankle sprain that they are alleging, and Brody Miller broke that story, and asking Brody, and he kind of elaborated on this. When you have a high ankle sprain, man, that could be lingering. Let's see if he can bounce back from that this Wednesday for the scrimmage. So I do want to say this. And look, I honestly thought, no yelling coming from me, just going to give a God's honest take about this quarterback position in this quarterback race. I honestly thought Thursday, guys, and look, we did this in the last episode. We charted in the little black book the stats in the scrimmage, the things that we saw, like legitimately have 4 full pages worth of notes from team periods to individual drills, and obviously the most of that coming from the scrimmage. If it is of my opinion, now I don't have I'm not going all in on this opinion. Meaning like if this were a poker table, I'm not putting all of my chips in. I'm still at the point of I'm going to check. I got to see what the flop does. I got to see what's going to go on here, especially Wednesday. And Wednesday, in this analogy, is another one of those cards at the poker table that's going to be flipped over when Garrett Nussmeier returns. But I do want to say this, and this is not me not believing Jacques Doucet from WAFB or anything like that. My point is that I haven't seen what he's talking about. And then when I reach out to some members of the staff, players, etc., it doesn't necessarily line up with what he had reported today. But I don't think that Jacques is maliciously saying anything. I think that he is reporting what he's being told. And for that, kudos. Good for him. I'm not saying that at all. However, this entire offseason, or at least let's say fall camp, Miles has not been at the part where I believe that he has done enough to take over and take that first snap. I don't believe that. If you ask me right now, who is the individual and who is the guy at quarterback that is going to take the first snap against Florida State as of today? That can change Wednesday. That can change as we go on and we continue to go on. So if Wednesday we come out here and we say it's Garrett Nussmeier, then so be it. Because then he did something and he worked himself into a situation where he is the first team quarterback. If I had to pick today, it's Jaden Daniels. There's not a question in my mind where this, I don't even want to call it narrative necessarily. I don't necessarily understand, though, where a narrative or where some of these things are coming from Miles. Guys, we charted Miles Brennan going 2 for 7 in a scrimmage. 0 first downs. Running game couldn't get going. And Jaden was the opposite of that. Look, there is a lot of people who say that he was inaccurate and things like that. Well, was he inaccurate in the spring game or was he inaccurate his entire career? there's two different schools of thought here. But I'm not even going to take the young man's past. I want to take the present. What's going on now? Because we sometimes get so far down the rabbit hole of what happened a season ago, right? Like so down the rabbit hole of, well, he threw 10 interceptions and 10 picks. And then you go say, well, then he threw 17 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Whatever it may be. Facts are facts. Arizona State got worse and has continuously gotten worse under Herm Edwards. It's not a shot at Herm. The record provides and shows that they've gotten worse under Herm Edwards. Arizona State has been an issue. I hear constantly, too, of the past of Jaden Daniels. Oh, well, what about the kids that did something to his locker? You mean like Trevez Moore, who got kicked off of LSU's team and personally sent us a very, very rude DM when we had reported so many years ago that he got suspended for the first game against Georgia Southern in the 2019 team. So that young man, because the only thing that I see is people going around with him at Topgolf saying that that's, I'm quoting, my dog. On the field in this last scrimmage, whether you like it, love it, or hate it, Jaden Daniels was accurate. There were a couple of passes under pressure that he let sail. He's not perfect. Still went 10 of 12. And quite honestly, the bad pass to Cole Taylor across the middle, I thought should and could have been caught. Because you know who did catch that? Mason Taylor. A couple of plays later. If the games were to start today, Jaden Daniels is your quarterback. Wednesday, it might be Nussmeier. I have no idea what the future holds. Nuss has a very high ceiling. A very, very high ceiling. What I do worry about him and will continue to worry about him is when the game is on the line at 3rd and 7, do you make the right call and the right throw? We'll see. We will see if he makes that right decision. But to say Jaden Daniels has been inaccurate in the practices and the things that we have seen is not only wrong, I don't want to say it's a bias to what the young man is doing to put him in a negative light, but there is absolutely 0% way that you can say that he was highly inaccurate Thursday in that scrimmage. No chance. They ran bootleg after bootleg after bootleg. They ran quick stuff to Kayshon Boutte and Malik Neighbors, who has been the biggest offensive player in this entire offseason, entire fall camp in Malik Neighbors. He's been virtually unguardable. Jaden Daniels and him seem to have a good rapport. So whether you, and I know what is going to happen here, and Zach, I'm not reading the comments, so star the comments that disagree with me because I would love to have this conversation. So if there is someone in the chat that disagrees with us or agrees, I don't care. Put it in there. Put it in there. But what I'm not going to do is tell a lie. And we talk about the team period that miles through to the ball that miles through to Brian Thomas Jr., where our buddy Mikey Matuk from Mic'd Up posted the photo of it being a strip sack by Micah Baskerville. And you have Brian Kelly in the background screaming, throw the ball. In my opinion, I have not seen enough to Miles where I feel comfortable. And of my opinion right now, again, that can change. This could easily change. If Miles Brennan ran out there against Florida State, I do not feel confident. Not in the slightest. So regardless of what you think, we've been out there. The players have been out there, obviously. But for whatever reason, somebody tried to convince me in the chat in last episode that Brian Kelly made him draw straws. No, he didn't. No, he did not. You know how idiotic and stupid that sounds? So I guess Jaden Daniels continues to draw the first straw every damn practice, and Miles draws the third one. I guess that's the the way that we're doing this quarterback controversy. Somebody in the chat saying that they were drawing straws. Travis, who comes in Twitter Spaces and acts a damn fool, he says you always try to discredit everything Miles does. Travis, no, I don't. Then why is everybody else saying, at least majority of people saying what we're saying? Miles went 2 of 7, Travis. So fit in your narrative whatever you want. Say that we're pushing one. I don't give a shit anymore at this point. If the game were today, Jane Daniels is your starter. And it can easily change. Now, let's go to his past. Guys, he's the most experienced. Here's the crazy part, guys. You want to know the crazy part? Outside of Jared Bernard-Converse and Colby Richardson, the most experienced player, meaning games played in college football. Do you know who that man is? Jane Daniels. Do you want to know who the most experienced quarterback from playing games in college football is? Jane Daniels. He's seen things. And Travis, you could say that we're discrediting stuff. We're not discrediting anything. Crying, I'll get you your comment in a minute. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't agree with Jock. I'm not saying Jock's wrong, but I make a phone call Saturday and said, no, it was pretty much Jane doing the same thing he did Thursday. And if that's the case, and Jane did do exactly what he did on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, he's your dude. If he threw for 80% completion percentage again, guys, I'm telling you, what are you worried about? I'm not saying the intermediate passing stuff is fixed. Let me make this very well known. I am not saying that he has fixed his intermediate passing. What I am saying is it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a hell of a lot better. For that, you got to give it to him. Rick says, it's a great time to be a Tiger, y'all. That it is. Blakeland Terrell. What's up, Blakeland? Great first half of your name. He says, an ESPN analyst says if Miles Brennan starts, the ceiling is 11-1 and 10-2. Well, they're not out at practice. Billy Reddy says, hashtag ask Blake, if Miles Brennan is third string, will he transfer? I don't know if he's going to transfer or not, guys. Like, I don't have any idea or inkling whatsoever if he's going to transfer or not. Rick says, hashtag ask Blake, in Notre Dame versus LSU 14 bowl, Malik Zaire rushed 22 times for 99 yards. Coach Brian Kelly likes a mobile quarterback. Colson took over after. Yeah, and Ian Book came in the second time that Orgeron and Notre Dame and LSU faced. Ian Book came in, more of the runner of the guys, and we all remember how that went down. LGZ on YouTube says Jaden 62% career completion percentage. Guess he hasn't been doing too bad. Zay Witt says, if your shirt says pause, that's hilarious. Yes, our shirt says pause. It is from the Golden Boot podcast. I think they're doing a show tonight at like 7:30. Derek Gordon says, Blake, people tend to forget that Jane Daniels didn't even have a regular quarterbacks coach until after 2019. The inside of their program was damn near worse as LSU's. That is a fact. Coach Granger. Question in my mind is Jane Daniels another Jordan Jefferson? All I've heard is he can't throw accurate, but that's why I try to listen to y'all, see if he's gotten any better. Obvious, he's a talent. Coach Granger. I thought, and I'm only going based off of what I saw, Jaden did some spectacular things Thursday, and in talking to the staff, they said that he did exceptionally well. From what I understand, this Saturday during some team period and teamwork, Jaden was under a little bit of pressure from the left side of the line, and he would roll out right, and he was throwing it on a dime. Said him and Kayshawn started to get a little bit more of a rhythm. Now, if that is the case, if that is true, then watch out. Roger Dugas says, go watch his freshman team at Arizona State with good wide receivers. Dude can sling it. I will agree with that. Blaine Viator says, Blake! My good friend Blaine, who sometimes is on 103.7 The Game, and then he covers, I think he's still, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Blaine, but calls the games for Kieran Crow out there in the 337. But Blaine says, Blake, what do you see in the running back rotation? I see that there's a lot of guys rotating in and out. Kind of crazy enough, it has not been John Emery that's taken those first team reps. I don't know what is going on with that, but I will tell you, with Noah Cain coming in as late as he did, it does, I don't want to say worry me. It does make me pause just a little. I will say this, though. When John Emery was in the scrimmage and when he's getting the reps, they are forcing him the football. Like it, love it, or hate it, they are trying to get the ball in number 4's hands. He broke one and then got hit and tripped up and fell down, but got, I think, like 6 or 7 yards on that run. So they are trying to get him the ball a lot. Noah Cain still bouncing back and forth. I think of all of the running backs, the best running back in pass protection has been Noah Cain, and hasn't been close. At least knowing where to go, where to fill the holes. Pause. But he's filling those holes. Pause. Hey! No, you got to love it. Crying Belly, who has been going off on Twitter and sending me everything he's doing, says, I don't think either QBs of the three makes LSU better or worse, really. I don't agree with that. I still think Jaden or Nusk gives you a better chance at the current moment than, say, Walker or Miles. It's just my opinion. Guys, Miles has legitimately lost a little bit of a zip on his fastball. Either he is trying to just be more accurate, meaning Miles, and get the ball where it needs to go, or he's lost some zip on his fastball. To me, and we saw this in the spring, it's a lot of the same that we saw in the spring. A lot of the same. Deadeye Jed says Jaden Daniels might have experience, but he got worse instead of better. And he screams it at us. From what perspective? So my question would be, did his team around him get worse? His coaching staff and his team got worse around him. I would challenge anyone. Hey, everybody in here, do me a favor. If you've watched more than 2 games of Jaden Daniels' career, meaning you've gone back since he's been at LSU, give me a thumbs up in the chat. And I'm not talking about small little highlights. I'm talking about you actually went and watched him play. Put a thumb inside the comment. Ooh, I almost ended the broadcast, Pooh, trying to hit the comments. I hope the broadcast is still going. That would have been bad. Gerard Guillory on YouTube says Matthews isn't coming here. We'll have a pretty we'll have a pretty big pause right up tomorrow morning. I will say this. Kylin Jackson did commit. We'll get to that next out of the break. Todd says, dude, chill. You don't have to have a meltdown every time someone disagrees with you. Well, there's a difference, Todd, in disagreeing, and there's a different part of you saying that I'm discrediting someone and putting words in our mouth. Now, I will say this. Of any show that covers LSU, we put more comments up than anybody. So we don't have to read the comments, but I'm giving you a platform to speak. We're giving you a platform to speak. What I'm not going to do is agree with someone who's putting words in my mouth. I'm not going to do that. Harold Wood says drawing strong sounds like some Edo thing. He said he was an insider. And not only did he say he was an insider, the guy who said that Brian Kelly made the quarterbacks draw straws, he said he was on the staff in his comment. I think it was in the last episode. You can go check that comment out. It's wild. It's wild. Crying, we'll get to that. We'll get to that after when we hit the next break. We do have a lot of thumbs up in here. And it's usually, you know what's funny about these thumbs up, it's usually the people that have or don't say something as crazy as we've been seeing. Travis Dyson says he by far has the most upside, but man, he has not improved at all. Who are you talking about? I think Nuss has improved. I am fully on the camp that I think Nussmeier has improved. I think so. Let's talk about Nuss. And we'll be breaking all this down and putting it in a segment. So we've talked on Jaden Daniels. Now let's talk on Nussmeier, because over this last week, he's probably the quarterback who has the most potential to start, but we haven't talked about at all because we haven't seen him a lot. I think he has improved. Can he keep the ball out of the other team's hands? Pause. But can he keep his balls and the ball and LSU's possession out of the hands of the other team? If he can do that, he's going to be a good quarterback. And I can fully see him being the guy that starts. But I do wonder what happens when you're out for a little while. How does the timing work? Can you just pop back in there and the timing is unaffected? But they have to some time to make that up. I think Wednesday of anybody in this scrimmage Wednesday, he probably has the biggest day of anyone to try to either get back to where Jaden is or surpass him. But I would assume, and look, here's something interesting too that I don't think a lot of us have talked about. When we're out of the scrimmage Wednesday and they call for the first team in the scrimmage and the first quarterback runs out there, say it is Jaden. Then what? Then what? If it's Nussmeier, then what? Because I do think we're coming to a scenario where there's a high probability that we might be playing two quarterbacks, and we're making a big deal out of who's going to be the guy that runs out there first. There is a very strong possibility that we're making a bigger deal of who's going to take the first snap as LSU starter. Meanwhile, when we sit here 13 weeks from now, we're like, yeah, man, we ran a two quarterback system and somehow we won games. That's how I feel about it. Okay, let's do this. Let's very quickly. Zaywit says, hey, yo. You know that man is from like one of the big cities in Louisiana when he says, hey, yo. That's how you know that's how I know I talk to someone from Louisiana when they say, hey, yo. Hey, yo. But it says pause on all of this. Pause! I'm really worried for when Pooh Bear gets a pause shirt. How bad. What's the over-under of him saying pause? Ryan says, got to think Joe Sloan is making a big difference in the quarterback room. It has shown with Nussmeier and Jaden. That is 1,000% the case. And people ask me a lot of times, how does Walker Howard look? He is let me say it like this. Walker is the most talented of the four. From a running the football aspect, from a throwing and accuracy aspect, Walker Howard is by far, when you just say, let's play 7-on-7 and you would put Walker Howard out there, He is the best. No doubt about it. The problem is that young man's a freshman, and I would need to see him under live bullets. To his, in fairness, Walker has not been given that chance. And what is one thing that we know about Brian Kelly? Brian does not like playing freshman quarterbacks. The quarterback that's going to start for Notre Dame this year was a freshman a season ago, and Brian Kelly rotated him in and out. Did not want to get, and especially in clutch situations, he did not play a lot. He would run the football. That was about it. But go look at what Brian Kelly did from a recruiting aspect at quarterback. Guys, he went 30-5 with Ian Book. Did y'all watch the Saints preseason game last night? Did you watch the Saints preseason game last night? He won 30 games with Ian Book at quarterback. I wonder what the man would have done with Danny Etling. Man, I tell you what, our buddy Preston was, he was insufferable about this. Shades of Danny Etling. Look what happens when you're able to sit the bench and get healthy and mature and not be thrown into the fire. And you have a competent coordinator, competent offense. So be it. He threw screen passes and they went to the house. Shout out to T. Martin's son, Pooh Bear's godson, and Amari Rogers. But shades of Danny Etling. Guys, Ian Book is dookie. Dog, Ian Book is not good, man. He's not good. At least he's not playing to that potential. But, man, he did some good things in college, though, didn't he? Don't tell me you can't win with quarterbacks like Ian Book. Just ask Stetson Bennett. All right, let's pay these bills. Let's talk about our good friends over at Gramco, thegramco.com. One thing that they don't do is pause on the deliveries and making them very discreet. So let's talk about our good friends over at Gramco. Guys, we'll be back in 1 minute. We'll talk some recruiting, and we'll talk some other things, LSU. Fire inside your questions, hashtag Ask Blake. We'll be back in exactly 1 minute to talk some LSU recruiting. Stay tuned. Guys, I've got to talk to you about our good friends over at Gramco. They are the Delta 8 company based out of the state of Florida. They're founded by college football junkies just like you and I am not sure if you're familiar with Delta 8, but you need to be. Gramco is the absolute leader in this field, and they have phenomenal products that I just need to tell you about. First off is the Wake and Bake coffee that is absolutely spectacular. The gummies are as well, as they're the best in the market. So go to thegramco.com right now and use the promo code AYS25. That's thegramco.com, AYS25 promo code to get 25% off of your order. Jump on this fast as it is perfect for holidays, anniversaries, and everyday use. Gramco is hemp-derived and completely legal inside of the state of Louisiana. No medical card is needed, and shipping is very discreet. You must be 21 years older to order. Again, that's thegramco.com. Use that promo code AYS25. Pooh Bear backstage said, hey, bro, Ben yelled Ayo, and that shit was hilarious. Ben! Come here! Put your pad down. Put your pad down. Put your pad down. Come here. Hiya! Hiya! It's Daddy's show. Say something.
Hello, Pooh.
Hello, Pooh. Ayo.
Ayo.
Crazy. All right, go play. Uh-oh, there goes Dave's phone. Go play. We need to get him a little Paul's shirt. He's got the black. Oh. See, Pooh, I do it every time. Every time I let him down. Hold on. Every time I let my son bend down, I kick the stupid camera. Now we got to fix it. There we go. All right, that should work. Edub 4, I guess he's using the numbers, or the fourth, said that Aqib Talib is in big trouble. What did Talib do? I saw the unfortunate event. I can't really stop thinking about that either, man. I can't stop thinking about that. Keaton says, bro, all I did was quote what Jacques Doucet tweeted. I didn't say Miles is the starter. We all know he's third on the depth chart, but I'm happy to read he's been improving in practices. Keaton, I understand what you're saying, brother. Like, I fully do understand what you're saying. But you have been coming in here saying some things so people get the idea. But it's not so the part of this is Pooh, we're good on back here. The thing though is when you do something like that, people think one thing that maybe isn't the true. Anthony Hall says, and he does not like non-mobile quarterbacks either. Anthony, I think that that's a great take. Brian does not like non-mobile quarterbacks, at all. At all. Michael B says there's $20 via Super Chat. Thank you so much for sending that, Michael. Thank you. But he says, thank you for giving me a release from my normal life. We just found a... You got a dinosaur?
Yeah, it's a T-Rex.
It's a T-Rex?
Yeah, they're coming.
They're coming? All right, well, go save Mama. Go. Go save her. Say, I'm here to save you. Don't know if it's bad or good yet. We're getting fiery over our Tigers. Well, Michael, let me just say our prayers are for you and your family, man. My mom, and thank you, Richard. And my mom, went through some stuff like that. So yeah. King Ulysses, what's up, buddy? He said, I heard the grass is not always green on the other side. Sad part of the transfer portal. That's true. It's true. Just ask Eli Ricks. Not looking good for him. All right, let's get into a couple some stuff in recruiting. If you missed it, all right, I let you in here once. Go. Okay, go save Mama. Go. I let you in here once. I should have never done that. So let's talk recruiting. Kylin Jackson, 4-star, 6'2", 200-pound safety from Zachary High, Zachary, Louisiana, committed to the Tigers this weekend, which would give LSU the 20th commitment of the 2020 class. You're tired of me hitting Rufino's rants. We don't need him anymore, but it's not stopping. It's not stopping. Brian Kelly and this team continues to commit. Now, Jordan Matthews is a different scenario. The corner out of Woodlawn, I don't feel confident there, and you're not even going to have a hat on the table. So with that being said, guys, I would say put your context clues together. I don't think that needs a write-up from me or anybody else on any message board or anything like that. Guys, you know what's going on. LSU doesn't even have a hat. Now, I was told that LSU has tried to do everything that they can for him, but LSU does sit well for guys like Bravion Rogers out of Texas. 5'10", 190-pound slot corner that is extremely, extremely, extremely fast. They have done some good things in this, with these DBs. They've one thing that you got to give them credit for, and one thing that I will give guys like Sherman Wilson, Robert Steeples, and everyone credit. Guys, you have a walk-on transfer from McNeese State and Colby Richardson, not Cody Dickerson, but Colby Richardson, who has kind of come out of nowhere. And, guys, he's running with the ones. Not only is he running with the ones, he would start. One thing that is true that everybody continues to say, and where Malik Neighbors is the buzz offensively, Colby Richardson is the buzz around camp. Guys, he's gone one-on-one against Kayshawn and looked good. Not even good. He's looked great, honestly. Now, what happens when Kayshawn starts getting a little bit better and better conditioning and better football conditioning? That remains to be seen, right? That remains to be seen, but we'll see there. We'll see. Look, this DB room needs an influx of youth. Guys, name the young corners on this team. You do have LaTerrence Welsh. You do have Sage Ryan. You do have Jordan Davis Robinson that's on this team. But you don't have an influx of a lot of young DBs. There's a lot of older guys on this team. A lot of older guys. Your entire DB room is seniors, damn near. Your safeties, seniors. Your corners, seniors. Seven Banks, Bernard Converse, Kobe Richardson, Greg Brooks, all of them, seniors. Your defensive back room is going to change. You got to go get guys like Kylin Jackson to be able to replenish and add depth there. This is of my opinion. And I did this write-up about a month ago, about a month and a half ago on our premium message board. So go subscribe, ayssnetwork.com/forum if you hadn't subscribed today. I think Kylin Jackson's a top 7 prospect in the state. And I think I'm being fair in saying that. I more than think I'm being fair in saying that. Guys, he is Eric Reed. I said this once, I'll say it again. He's Eric Reed. Maybe with better ball skills I should say ball skills. Let me rephrase that. Better tackling skills and a nose for the football. He made Ponchatoula. He destroyed Ponchatoula. Destroyed. So you get one of the safeties that if you told me today that you're getting another Eric Reed, sign me up and deliver it. I think he's faster than Eric Reed was. And I think that when push comes to shove, he will put his helmet down and light you up. I got to say this, though. One thing I got to say. I thought we were never getting a 4-star corner or 5-star corner or 5-star safety or 4-star safety when Corey Raymond left. Boy, I know that's a mouthful. Poo, no pause. It's a mouthful. How's Florida doing in the DB room? Dang. Guys, this is LSU, man. It's LSU. You have the opportunity in this state to not just get good recruits, to get elite DBs and wide receivers. Brian Kelly coming in here doesn't change that. And if Robert Steeples, who has had a lot of success in high school, in the NFL, and hopefully he has a lot of success at LSU, guys, he's not going to be here long. He's not from this state. If he has success, I'm sorry to tell you, he's not going to be here long. He just won't. But I'm old enough to remember 6 months ago when the young man, I say young man, but when the man was hired in Robert Steeples and Kerry Cooks, that we were going to lose out on every DB. Blake, what about Jordan Matthews? Guys, what about Dalen Austin? What about Kylin Jackson? Seems like they did some pretty good stuff in recruiting from the DB room. If you got a grad transfer from McNeese locking Kayshawn Booty down. Shout out to Corey Raymond. My man. Oh, Corey. But it's the truth. You know it and I know it. Dylan Allen on Facebook says, #asks Blake, how did our ranking not change after Kylin committed? I don't know. I've asked Shay that before. I don't understand that. I don't understand that one. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. But here's something that's also new. And Pooh Bear, it will be in the AYS message report tomorrow morning. Zalance Hurd has spoken. Well, the real 318, please stand up, because it's not in Monroe. We all know that. I mean, Ann says, oh, we're from the 318, Monroe. Who? No, it's Neville. All right. I'm waiting for Ann to respond. I know he's going to kill me. But if you missed it this past weekend, Zalance Hurd mentioned that he's going to be shutting his recruitment down, and he did talk about LSU. Now, I'm going to say this, and if you get Zalance Hurd and you get eight of the top 13 athletes from the state of Louisiana, you're locking down the state. You're locking down the state. I don't care what any of you are saying. You are locking the state down, and that is how you win natties. Guys, when you get top 6, top 5 recruiting classes, you win natties. You get to the playoffs. That's what LSU's doing. Dylan says, Blake, my boy, I'm late. Fill me in on what recruits are we after this. Can you just back up just a smidgen? Just a smidgen. We're just talking about it. But I do feel good about Zalance Hurd. Let's see what happens. Michael B says, Blake, thoughts on Micah Baskerville, and not sure how he got in the doghouse, but he is so talented. Insight on him. He was running with the twos, and Brian Kelly went out of his way to mention him in the post-game or the post-scrimmage press conference. Got a strip sack on Miles Brennan, got multiple times, got pressure on Miles, and Brian Kelly talked about how he's going to play a lot. I don't know why he's in the quote-unquote doghouse or why he's not running with the ones. But if there's some kind of game being played. So I mentioned this Thursday, when LSU goes to the big nickel package, when you had Wes Weeks, Greg Penn, and Mike Jones Jr., when you have those 3 men on the field and you're going to a big nickel package and kind of running more of a 4-3 type of defense where you don't have to take Mike Jones Jr. out, and you can still have enough personnel to be able to stop the run, I do think that Micah Baskerville will replace West Weeks, is my opinion. Now, West did some good stuff now. He got clapped in that spring game, but he did some good stuff. West Weeks is fast, dude. And here's another thing. They're going to have to find packages for Harold Perkins. I talked to a coach this morning. He was on his way to church, and me and Ben and Megan were eating breakfast, and he calls me, and I didn't even get to say hello. And I was like, "What's up, coach?" And he goes, "Harold Perkins is a dog. I'm going to church to pray for all these sinners because they're going to need it." I was like, "All right. Man's going to church to pray for other teams because Harold Perkins is here." Whoo-wee. Oh-wee. Guys, I love the 318. Y'all stop. I do that to get a rise out of Aunt Marshall. Y'all stop. I love the 318. I got to be honest. I loved going to Ruston, dude. Ruston was a fun little town. Went to Ponchatoula's. Okay. Ponchatoula's, which not the Ponchatoula here in Tangi. I'm talking about Ponchatoula's, the little restaurant. Pooh Bear, that's where I found country music. Got my toes in the water, ass in the sand, not a worry in the world, a cold beer in my hand, life is good today. Pooh Bear, who sings that song? Comment in. Don't you Google it. Don't you dare Google it. Life is good today. This man said Little Baby. No, it was actually his cousin, Little Nas X. It was Lil Nas X that sang that. Got my toes in the water, ass in the sand. Phillips Clinton says, hashtag Ask Blake, what did you hear about DJ Chester? I heard he's an LSU lock. I do not believe, in my personal opinion, he is an LSU lock, but I do feel good about DJ Chester. So if you do add, again, we do these things where we worry so much. If we add DJ Chester and Zalance Hurd, dude, stop it. Stop it. Eric Johnson says Malik Neighbors and Chris Hilton are better than Kayshawn too. Oh, I ain't going there. Ain't no way. Nope. Ain't no way. I will say this. Oh, so Jack Besh and Chris Hilton. I hear some things. I hear they may have made their return. And slightly making their return, they're getting work back in. Dog, Chris Hilton's fast. He's like super fast. He's like Pooh Bear's son on the open field against Phillip Rivers on a Friday night. Super fast. So I will say, watch out for Jack Bech this week in his return. I would not be surprised if Jack Bech is running with the ones in his return. And they're going to have certain packages for him. And I do believe they're going to force him the football. Julius says, that's a Zach Brown band, man. It's true. Colin Thibodeau says, much better country music than that. They just won't play it on the radio. What you talking about, Colin? You know. I was riding a horse down an old town road and my wife was cheating on me. Grabbed a beer and crouched it open and damn, it wasn't for me. Hoochie cooch. Pierce Lee says Ponchadula has the only decent seafood in town. Yeah, they were good. I had a hamburger. I thought it was good. And I stayed there like a week. Some people are asking about Kai Perrine. He will be committing very soon. That will be in the write-up tomorrow, so you're going to have to subscribe for that one. Tyler says Javian Tabiano. I think that LSU sits in a good position for him. We'll see how that progresses. I do feel good on Kai Perrine I think it's Tuesday, correct? Y'all correct me in the chat. I think it's Tuesday. Kai Perrine has played running back in high school. I think he will be a wide receiver, but you never know, man. You never know. He's a versatile young man. He can play the slot. He kind of reminds me a lot, honestly, of Malik. You know, lower rated guy. Didn't get to 4-star until people start bitching and complaining. That young man can play. Let's see what he does with St. James this year. Javante Robinson says, Nuss! Receivers have been slightly pushing for him. Not if you see some people's. What do you call that, Pooh? Insta faces. No. Country Granger says, man, you need to stop. Stop that. Don't stop talking about country music like that. Pooh Bear says, I do have friends in low places. I'm just saying. We bet you do, Pooh. We bet you do have friends in low places. Pause. You need a Paul shirt immediately. Pierce says, Blake, you were in Ruston and didn't even hit up a brother. You and Carter always sneak by me. I was up there a long time ago, man. I ain't been up that way in a long time. It was for a lady. Brad says negative, White Seafood and Hustler. I heard White's shut down, man. I heard White Seafood shut down. Not good. My brother's ex-girlfriend in high school, Stacy, owns that place now. Phillips Clinton says, hashtag Ask Blake, that boy, Mason Taylor, is a dog. He is a dog. Looked really good. Looked really, 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 really good. I think he's going to play a lot this year. So we'll see. All right, let's do this. Pooh Bear, you want to come up or you want to just wait until y'all show tonight at 7:30? Okay, so let's do this. Let's pay some bills. One last bill. We'll bring up Pooh Bear and we'll talk some more LSU and get on out of here. Let's talk about my good friend Carol Foss over at State Farm. Back in 45 seconds. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Foss has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. Hey, Pooh Bear.
Yes, sir.
You owe me $30.
I got you.
You know why?
Tell me why.
Because you didn't pause earlier. All right, so Pooh Bear's joining us. Pooh Bear, I gotta say, there's a lot of talk right now about the quarterback position. Jane Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier. I guess, what do you make of all of this right now?
Reports have come out. I've heard a lot on this. From what I hear, we ought to be in a good position. Whichever way we go, I know it's a lot of bias leaning one way or the other. So, but I think that the irony of it all is the quarterback that everybody's arguing about isn't even one of the quarterbacks that's in the battle, I guess you could say.
Right. And look, I could make the argument for Garrett. I honestly could. I think that he gives you the best or has probably the highest upside. So, look, I don't think that Jane's a bad quarterback, and nor do I think he's a bad thrower of the football. But I do think that Garrett does have that Brett Favre-ish type of thing in him.
Yeah.
But I think that he does have a little bit more of that than maybe Jaden does.
So I'll say this. LSU, the success that LSU has had at the quarterback position, probably in the last 6-7 years, have all been transfers.
This is true. This is true. And look, I still subscribe, Pooh, to the theory that you don't bring a quarterback in if you're not going to play him, right? Like, so I gave this analogy to a group of friends of mine last night when they came over. Why weren't we panicking about Joe Burrow?
Good question.
Because Joe Burrow never started a game.
Good, exactly.
Joe Burrow had 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in 18. He didn't do much better than Danny Etling.
That was my next. I don't think a lot of people panic about Danny Etling.
I ain't gonna lie, I panicked.
A lot of people. I mean, compared to you had Danny Etling or Brandon Harris.
Brandon Harris was bad. Okay, like I'll give you that. Like Brandon was scared. I and that has nothing to do with it. But we've seen at times where LSU has elite quarterbacks. Right. I mean, look, you can go from Jamarcus to Flynn,
Paraloo. Although we didn't get the.
It fell off for less after that. They could not get a quarterback. And I understand that. And then people are going to say, and they're going to kill me behind this Burrow take. Obviously, we saw flashes from Burrow, and I get it. But you do see flashes from Jaden in the running game. The styles of play are two different things. But Jarrett Lee is another one, and Adrian brings that out there. I don't think Jarrett Lee was that bad of a quarterback. A lot of people wanted Jarrett Lee to come back in there in the national title game. Look, Jordan Jefferson won a lot of games. I don't think it was because of Jordan Jefferson, but they won a lot of football games.
If I'm not mistaken, he's all-time winningest quarterback at LSU. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we'd have to bean count that. We'd have to find that out. He might just be. Just be. All right. So what time is the Golden Boot Pod tonight?
We're at 7:30.
All shirts.
We're at 7:30. Go to thegoldenboot.com. We've got Paul's shirt. We got Paul's shirt. Shout out to Andrew Martin. We've got Paul's Hub shirts. We've got the Make Small Podcast Great Again hats. I mean, we got it all on there. So,
I got you. Okay, so 7:30. 7:30.
Yeah.
Will Chris make a nice entrance?
I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure out if Chris is going to be on there. Chris, now, in all fairness, Chris did have a minor surgery, so that's why he's kind of been out lately. So we're hoping he's back, just because we don't want to just pick on Daniel. We need somebody else
Was he hiding a honey bun? Did he have to have surgery to get it like a honey bun out from under his neck? Or
No, it was I mean, first of all, you have to have a neck to get it out under the neck.
well, true.
He had if I'm not mistaken, he had a stomach
Don't say like an ulcer.
No. It was like a stomach attachment surgery where he was adding an extra stomach so he can eat more honey buns and stuff.
Get your ass out of here. Get
All
your
right.
ass out of here. How you like Ben's glasses? What you think about these?
I like him. Ben's a star. And I didn't know the Zach Brown band, but I do know living my life in a slow hell. Different girl every night at the hotel. What is it?
Keep going.
I ain't
Keep going.
seen the sun shining 3 damn days.
Did you see Kid Rock making out with that fat girl from TikTok?
Yeah, that's yeah. That was,
I mean, like he licked her tongue.
Yeah, it's an all-time low.
Yeah,
Kid
I'm
Rock.
not,
There it is, Ty Boudreaux. He said stomach enhancement. That's exactly it. So,
and C King says, "Stop playing with my dog, Chris. Y'all, Chris, stop." Hey man.
Hey,
All right, guys, y'all stay tuned for the Golden Boot Pod at 7:30. I'll be tuned in there as well. Until then, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.